Hi, this is Bob Kay from the AMD World Championship. We're here in Sturgis for 2010, and I have with me Chris from the Speed Shop and Design. Chris has built this entry for us for the World Championship here in Sturgis, and we want to find out a little bit about this bike. Chris, what kind of work you had to do, if there's any off-the-shelf parts you were able to use, tires, brakes. Why did you make the choices, and what were you trying to achieve here?
Okay, well, basically it started as a study in designing a girder fork, and I came up with this concept for a really bizarre, interesting fork made out of sheet metal, which you don't see every day. So started with the fork design, which is actually, when you look at the guts of it, it's your typical girder fork. There's nothing really crazy about it, except that it's made out of sheet metal, and it's made to go up and down around a stationary headlight. From that, I basically moved back, found an engine I liked, which was a BSA. It's a 1965 BSA A65 motor, totally stock guts in it, but I made some modifications like a twist clutch, and built the headers around it. The carburetor's off a MG Midget, so it's been modified to go into the engine, just like the original single carb was on this bike. You know, built everything on the bike, pretty much. A one-man shop, I don't have the resources to go buy a bunch of new parts, so because of that, you know, started with an engine that was easily rebuildable. It didn't cost a fortune. I went ahead and I found some nice tires that I wanted to go with really tall tires, but not go modern. So I went with these 20-inch clenchers, and they're 28.5 inches tall overall, which is a really nice height. Gave it a really nice old school feel. And with that tire on the fork, I just wanted to try to continue that feel through the bike and give it a timeless feeling, you know. So it's just some kind of techie approaches to the way it's made, but when you look back, when you stand back and look at it, it's really supposed to look low tech and simple. It could have been made in 1930.
Well, tell us, like on the wheels, obviously those are some larger diameter tires. Where did you have to go to get the wheels?
Well, the tires are remanufactured Firestones from Coker, and then the rims, it's hard to find 20-inch clencher rims. This is old school technology, and I actually found a gentleman whose name escapes me right now. He lives up way in the north of the Michigan Peninsula, and he makes these Harley-style rims from scratch in his little shop. So,
excellent. Now, are there any accessories that you have bought from the aftermarket, or was everything pretty much handmade out of your shop?
The only thing I bought is, in the mountain bike world, I became familiar with shock absorbers. I used a mountain bike shock in the fork, and that's pretty much, it's really the only thing I can look at and think of. It's got a rear Harley hub that I got at a swap meet that's normally used on the front, but I machined it to work in the back. Yeah, you know, it's looking back at it now, like I realized, yeah, I mean, I built everything on it just because I didn't like what was out there. I just didn't see the stuff that I wanted to put on the bike. So,
well, I think you've achieved your objective here. It's a pretty unique looking motorcycle. Is there anything else that's kind of special about it that you'd like to talk about and let the public know?
Yeah, one thing I really am happy with, the one thing I didn't do, which I didn't buy, commissioned, my friend Attila Barcha made this seat, and it's one of the, you just don't ever see, you know, leather like this, real tuck and roll on bikes these days. And I just wanted to push it to the limit. You know, we made the tuck and roll really small, about as small as you can make with human fingers in a sewing machine. And it was an attempt to pick up patterns in the tires and the pegs that I made, even in the grips, like there's a repeated pattern throughout the bike. It's really subtle, but it's there, and he did an amazing job on the seat. Just couldn't be happier. And it's hard for me, I'm a control freak, I gotta make everything. It's really hard for me to relinquish control to someone else, to have them do a part, and I was not let down at all. I was just so floored when he came to the shop with this.
Now, in terms of the engine, was there any rebuild requiring? Did you have to refinish the cases? Any welding of fins or anything, or did you have pretty much a bolt-in type of drivetrain?
The bike I got the engine from was just a totally butchered chopper from the 60s. And I had to totally rebuild the motor. I didn't do that. I had a local European guru do that. I did this whole bike in 11 months. I just didn't have the time to do the motor work. But the cases, polished the cases, did a lot of casework to get the twist clutch to work. because you have to add a pulley in there to decrease the leverage ratio, so now it's 2 to 1 as opposed to 1 to 1. And you can actually operate the clutch with the twisting of the narrow grip. So, but yeah, all this is welded on the side.
Well, again, I think you've followed through on your theme and achieved your objective, and we really appreciate your time today and letting us know about your project and the time and effort you've dedicated to the last 11 months. We really appreciate your efforts and being here today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Second place from Seattle, Washington. Speed Shop Design with Chris. The mic is Berserker. Come on, Chris. Chris McLeod.
And you're watching the AMD World Championships of Custom Bike Building vidcast. We are sponsored in part by Big Dog Motorcycles, Crane Cams, S&S.